So, you're thinking about selling your home here in the Greater Huntsville area? Well, you need to hear this because there's one common mistake that could be costing you some serious time and a lot of money. Today, we're going to break down the data and show you exactly how to avoid it. Look, the Huntsville real estate market is absolutely buzzing right now, which makes it a fantastic time to be a seller. But, in a market that moves this fast, your strategy is everything. Our whole goal here is to dig into the latest report from the first quarter of 2026 and give you a clear, data-driven game plan for pricing your home to win. All right, let's dive in. First things first, let's just get a feel for the overall health of the market. These key numbers from Q1 of 2026, well, they tell a really compelling story about property growth and just how strong buyer demand is around here.
Right off the bat, check this out. Home sales are up a very, very healthy 5.7% compared to this time last year. You know what that tells us loud and clear? Buyers are out there and they are ready to go. The demand is absolutely there. So what about prices? Well, the median sales price has climbed up to $310,000. And that, for sellers, is fantastic news. It's a huge signal that we're in a market with strong, growing property values. Your investment is paying off.
Okay, so we've got strong demand, we've got rising prices, so how fast are homes actually selling? Well, the average home is on the market for a pretty brisk 64 days. Now, I want you to burn this number into your brain. It is a crucial benchmark. It shows us that homes that are priced correctly from the get-go are not sitting around for long. And that brings us right to the heart of what we're talking about today. With a market this strong, it is so tempting for sellers to want to aim high, build in a little bit of that negotiation room. But the data is showing that this common strategy can seriously backfire. So that leads us to the big question, right? With all these positive signs in the market, what is the single biggest mistake that Huntsville sellers are making right now? The answer is overpricing. A staggering 61% of homes that were listed in the first quarter were priced too high from the start. Now think about that. This isn't just a small trend, it's a huge issue that's affecting the majority of listings out there. This really flips a long-held belief on its head. So many sellers think you've got to price high to leave yourself a cushion for those negotiations. But as we're about to see, the hard data from our own backyard proves that this is a really costly myth. And believe me, this isn't just theory. It comes with some very real-world consequences. Let's look at two charts that just perfectly illustrate the true cost of overpricing. And we're going to measure it in two things that matter most: your time and your money. Okay, look at this. This chart brilliantly illustrates the first cost: time. Just look at the difference here. The gray bars, those are the homes that had to have a price reduction. On average, they just sat there for 145 days. Now compare that to the red bars. The homes priced right from day one. They sold in just 16 days. That's not a small difference. That is a chasm. And let's put that in real terms. 145 days versus 16, that's not just a statistic on a page. That is an extra 4.5 months of mortgage payments, of uncertainty, of putting your life on hold. Time is the one resource you just don't get back. But it's not just about the time. The second cost is cold, hard cash. This chart, it shows the sales price as a percentage of the final list price. And again, the gray bars are those homes that needed a price cut. Notice how they consistently sell for a lower percentage of their asking price compared to the correctly priced homes in red. You actually lose your negotiating power. We call this the negotiation penalty. And here's the crucial takeaway. When you overprice your home and you're forced to make a price cut, you lose all your leverage. Buyers see that price drop as a sign of weakness, maybe even desperation. On average, this penalty costs sellers 7.4 percentage points on their sale-to-list price ratio. So that strategy of building in negotiation room, it does the exact opposite. It hands all the negotiating power over to the buyer. All right, enough about the problem. Let's pivot and talk about the solution. Because when you get the pricing right from day one, the data shows a really powerful payoff. You sell your home faster, and believe it or not, you often sell it for a higher final price. This case study from the report is the perfect example. Just look at this tale of two sellers. Seller A aims high, lists at $450. After half a year, 181 days, on the market, they finally sell for $412. Now look at seller B. They price strategically at $425, sell in just 8 days for their full asking price. Let that sink in. By listing for $25,000 less, seller B actually walked away with almost $13,000 more in their pocket. Incredible. So let's just recap the whole price it right advantage. Your home sells dramatically faster. You attract way more buyers right from the start, which creates competition. And that competition, it often leads to a higher final sales price. And best of all, you completely avoid that stigma of having to chase the market down with price cuts.
So the big question is, how do you actually put all this into action? Well, we've boiled all this data down into a simple 3-step plan to help you maximize your home's value and get the absolute best outcome possible.
Here it is. Step 1, analyze the real data. Don't start with some number you want. Start with what the market is actually doing. Work with an expert. Look at the real-time comparable sales and trends. Step 2, price it strategically from day one. Your initial price needs to be compelling, something that's going to attract the biggest possible pool of serious buyers. And finally, step 3, you have to capture that peak interest. A home gets the most eyeballs in its first 2 weeks on the market. That is your golden window, and a strategic price is what makes the most of it. And really, that brings us to our final thought here. As you get ready to sell, the data couldn't be clearer. Pricing isn't just about picking a number out of thin air. It is the most powerful marketing tool you have. So the question you have to ask yourself is this: is your home priced to sit, or is it priced to win?